The Love Boat will continue in a moment.
Word Balloon is brought to you by the League of Word Balloon Listeners.
Years of work pretty much into this big coffee table book, which now is benefited by a show like this where you can see a lot of this stuff that I newly created and some of the older stuff I've done.
If you're here at Word Balloon, it's because you like comics, creators, conversation, pop culture subjects. Would you consider joining the League of Word Balloon Listeners? Patreon.com/wordballoon. For just $3 a month or more, you'll get exclusive access to the Word Balloon e-magazine, featuring transcriptions of some of my best conversations. When you subscribe, you'll also be part of the Word Balloon Book Club, where Brian Michael Bendis and I will pick a comic every month to review and discuss live with the League on this show. Join the League today, patreon.com/wordballoon. Thank you always for your support, League of Word Balloon listeners. Good morning, everybody. Welcome. It is always great to have our guest to talk to. Just started an amazing run on SpiderMan, and it's kicking ass. And man, he's got great artists as well. But it's kind of a welcome back to Spider-Man because he was part of Brand New Day back in the day. Say hello to Joe Kelly, everybody.
Hey, everybody. Good morning. Thank you for coming out.
So, man, big complicated mystery box you got going on right now.
I mean, I hope so, and in the good way. Like, as in, I know where the mystery goes.
Yeah, you're not going to let us down, believe me. But honestly, there aren't so many balls in the air, and I know that Norman turning good happened prior to your run, obviously, but it is really interesting seeing Norman Osborn as trying to help Peter. Yep. And, of course, he's of two minds that on the one hand taking the help, but also it's Norman Osborn.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I obviously, like, it came in, I adopted a lot of stuff. I try not to, really on any book that I've taken over, I don't like to do, like, here's the hard reboot, unless that's a request by the company.
Okay.
So, I absolutely wanted to carry through things from
5 years of Zeb Wells.
Yeah, absolutely, because it just feels weird unless you're doing, like, Ultimate, where you can go, like, yeah, it's a whole new place.
Sure.
So that was already in place, the way the relationships were set, all that stuff is in place. And it was fun. It's a fun place to kind of start and go, what do I want to mess with? What do I want to keep going? Et cetera. Norman being a positive force in Peter's life is really interesting to me. Like, and the tension of will it last is, I think we can hold on to for a while.
That's really interesting because, again, both guys know each other so deeply. And it's something that always, in fact, Wade kind of toyed with a bit in that Last Days of Lex Luthor thing. I mean, he still hated Superman, but again, the two guys know each other. So to have this extra level of, believe me, Peter, I'm trying to do good right now, and even the moments with Aunt May, and I loved in either 8 or 9 or whatever where he's talking to Norman on the phone. He's like, Norman says hello. She's like, yeah, right.
Yeah. Yeah, because Peter has like an almost infinite capacity to forgive people, right? It's one of his great strengths and a potential flaw. Not everybody is like that, and it's fine. Like, it's great to surround him with people who are like, yeah, I'm not talking to Norman Osborn. Like, it's insane. And I used to teach a thing that was taught to me in the early days at Marvel. It's called a character wheel, and it's sort of a way to look at your supporting cast and see whether or not they're pulling at the internal struggles of the main character. Mark Grunwald taught it in the assistant editor's class, and then it was taught to me. And we always used to use the initial Spidey cast, or the college cast was really like the one to use. And it was always Aunt May on one side and JJJ on the other side, because they were, the sort of de facto parents.
Oh, okay.
And they sort of pulled at Peter in different ways. Now, J. Jonah Jameson is like his bud also, right? Like, Peter's won so many people over. But Norman fits into this weird spot of like, yeah, I want to be good, but everybody knows there's a challenge there. And so he's a perfect opposite for May.
That's excellent. Is everyone caught up? Has everyone read like through issue 9 and everything? Excellent.
Okay, good.
I was some of you may have already heard this. I'm doing this for the podcast as well. I yesterday CB was kind of going through stuff that's coming up in the fall and everything else, and I'll let Joe kind of reveal. I mean, it's out there with solicits.
Yeah.
But yeah, all this stuff about a cosmic spider and what's coming, and I'm like, okay, I haven't read that yet. I'm like, what does that mean? What's going on? And then I caught up with some of the news sites and everything, and they kind of already previewed. But I'll let Joe. Because again, a lot of complications. Hobgoblin is in there right now, and this brand new villain and Hellgate and everything, which is really interesting and a very mysterious character. So yeah, I mean, what else can you say in terms of where we are right now before all the big stuff is happening?
So coming onto the book, I had a bunch of wild ideas that I thought would be interesting and hopefully will bear out to be cool. But Nick and I agreed, like, let's start classic. Like, let's start with like very recognizable Spidey, and that was the first 5 with the Hobgoblin, and really a focus on Peter and young Peter and Peter and May and the
yes,
flashbacks.
I love the flashback stuff. Yeah.
Thank you. I'm very happy with those, and Pepe just destroyed the flashbacks. I mean, brought us to tears multiple times looking at this stuff.
The way he draws Peter's eyes, it's like immediately, hey, there's innocent Peter. It's totally like unmade, ready to accept anything in his purview. So,
yeah. So that's been great, and introduce a couple of new characters, new status quo.
We'll talk about Brian and everybody.
Brian
absolutely,
and at Rand. But then that was to set the table, both in here's the normal status quo, and also what is Peter afraid of? And really deep in his DNA, Peter is afraid of loss, right? And we've seen it happen. Obviously, he lost Uncle Ben, he lost Gwen. He's lost things in his life, his own parents.
Yeah.
And then Hellgate shows up, and he's going to lose some stuff, right, as a result. So it's sort of like setting up the question and starting to pay it off. And then things get a little nutty for a while, and that's where these solicits have come in. And I've been very happy that Marvel has not spilled all the beans, which has been great, because we talked about this a lot. I'm like, what can we hold back and not mention, 4 months in advance? That would be awesome to not blow the story.
Sure.
And they've done a good job. Like they have. Yes, we had to see that there's a cosmic Spider-Man coming up, and there's a Spider-Man on Earth. What does that mean? They just called them both Spider-Man, and that's very good. I appreciate that, because we may find out like that not all is as it seems. And I've seen a couple of theories online. It's been very fun to watch people sort of guess. And so far, people are like half right on things. Nobody's got the full picture, which is awesome. It's very exciting for me, and I think it'll be fun when we finally reveal it. But there will be these 2 tracks. They go for 6 months. One of the things that does drive me nuts is they constantly use the term era whenever they promote these things. A new era.
Okay.
I'm like, 6 months is not an era. Like, please stop using that term.
Is that all your? Well, no, you're doing your run more than just. 6 months.
No, my run is
But this story is.
This
6
story
months.
lasts for 6 months,
and it's bi-weekly, obviously.
Yes, and it's bi-weekly, and so we thought it was fun to do instead of arcs that were one after another. Could we alternate every week? So it'll be a week in space, a week on Earth.
Oh, wow.
That's how it goes.
I was going to ask if it was, dual track within the book.
Yeah.
But within each issue.
Yeah.
But you're saying you're alternating each issue.
Yeah, alternating so that within each month you're getting
one space story, one grounded New York story.
Yep.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah. Now, another character, and you mentioned him yesterday as well for the Marvel panel, Symbi.
Oh, yeah.
And obviously that's going to be tied to Cosmic Spider-Man. Mm-hmm. So I don't know how much you want to get into. I mean, there was a little. I mean, he looks a little venomy, and obviously with a name like Simbi, there's obviously a symbiote.
He is a little symbiote. He's a fun, weird character. I mean, the cosmic characters I very much enjoy, and obviously they're all new. Well, not all. You'll see.
Okay.
But there's a lot of new, and it was an opportunity, again, to put Spider-Man in a situation we don't normally see.
Absolutely.
And even though it's early in my run, it just felt like we've had so much Earthbound Spidey, ground level, street level stuff, all the stuff that Zeb did with Tombstone.
Yeah.
And even though I did 8 deaths, which was very crazy and magic based, 8 deaths. I'll go way back for a second. So I was meant to be the person bridging between Zeb and whoever came next. So eight deaths was supposed to be this 10-issue thing while they got the new series up and running. And then I went to a Marvel conference and realized there was no person next yet.
Oh.
And they just hadn't hired somebody yet. And I said, well, should I maybe put my hat in the ring? And Nick said, well, I don't hate that idea, which is a ringing endorsement. And I was like,
less
great.
than thrilled.
Yeah, cool. So he ran it up the chain, and I guess everybody didn't hate it. And so then I got offered the gig. So then that was why Justina Ireland came in and helped out with 8 Deaths. And she did an awesome job, because especially the way she had to jump in as I was juggling that and starting
the new stuff.
Yeah. So I think had I known how this was going to go, probably would not have done like this crazy magic story before this. But then once it was go time, we just went into it. But all that being said, Symbi is really fun. I think starts out as pretty much, you'll see some comedy relief element to him. But there's a lot more going on under the hood.
That's cool. Joe, you were part of Brand New Day, and it was great that you had rotating writers, but that was on. It was also bi-weekly, right? Or was it weekly even?
I don't remember how often it came out, but it was
a lot.
It was a lot.
Listen, from a reader's standpoint, we love bi-weekly. We love being able to read the story much more than just monthly. But I always am worried, because I know you guys, and it was the same thing with DC during New 52 when you had double shipping, and it's like, is this, is it okay? I mean,
is it sustainable?
Yeah. We don't want you to burn out, man.
No, it's challenging, but I mean, I'm pretty far ahead.
Cool.
I'm writing issues that come out in February. Right
Excellent.
Now, so
great.
That's exciting.
Great.
And sometimes it becomes a question of the artist, because you can't. It's hard to expect somebody to hit those deadlines.
And obviously you've got Pepe and Johnny.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and
doing your thing.
Yeah, which is awesome. And then when they need help, we'll bring in some other folks.
Sure.
Michael Dowling just did 8 and 9, right?
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, and did a great job. So there's a lot of rotation that happens. For me, it becomes challenging when I know I have to leapfrog. So it's like, oh wait, jump 4 months ahead because this guy needs the work first, and then go back to that one. That happens once in a while, but it's not insurmountable, because I like to plot out as much as possible. Like, I'm not a right by the seat of my pants guy. Maybe with Hellgate being an exception. Like, oh yeah, it's the biggest job I've ever had. Let's just totally mess everything up in issue 6. Cool. But that being said, I like to really figure things out. So it's not insurmountable for me to just go, oh, I have to work on 12 and then go back to 8. Sure, like that's not too bad.
Okay.
And it's fun. Like, I mean, you can't, my wife has a real job. She's a guidance counselor for elementary school, kids with real problems, and she comes and talks about like the emotional toll of her day, and I'm like, SpiderMan is hard to write. I'm not allowed to complain. It is the best job.
Well, and again, I mean, truly, how many years is a pro now, Steve? 30?
Oh, 28, I would say.
28 years?
Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing.
Maybe
man.
It's, because I think my first gig was, I think I started in 96-ish, and then really things kicked off in 97.
That's so great. And, so, Men of Action, of course, everything that Joe does with the rest of the guys. And I just have nothing but admiration for what they've accomplished.
Oh, thank
you. And, well, again, I mean, it's so great. You guys present an idea for Dial H for Hero. DC's like, that's cute, but no, that's okay. Okay, great. I think we'll create Ben 10 and create a cartoon and toy empire. So, and I want to ask you about that later and I always pump Casey because I think, of all the guys, and I talked to Steve a little bit as well, but I do think I talked to Joe the most. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I'm always fascinated by owning an IP like that. And what its current status is, how much the business has changed around the IP.
Oh, sure.
Because obviously, the toy and the cartoon business is so much different now. If people have questions, please line up. Yeah. Because hey, like again, I can go the full hour, but I really want to give people the opportunity.
Yeah,
because
please.
You guys paid for the tickets.
Yeah.
I didn't pay for my ticket.
Comics, animation, writing, whatever you want to know, please fire away. And Spidey, I can handle it. If there are questions,
absolutely.
comments. Suggestions, I'll take them.
Well, back to the story, and Brian, this guy from Peter's past, this kid who was a bully to Peter in the past and stuff. And I'm sorry, I don't trust bullies. I mean, it's like, I mean, he's being a genuinely good guy and putting him in Rand and everything, but it's like, I don't know. Is there more to learn about Brian?
Yeah, for sure. I definitely wanted to go into Peter's past a little bit. I think middle school is a really interesting, untapped field of his development.
Because we focus mostly on high school.
Exactly.
Please.
Yeah, and I we all have formative years at different times, and I just feel like middle school is one of those times. So Brian's in there, with his other buddies. They call themselves the Freaktastic Four. And which somebody was like, wait a second, does that mean that the Fantastic Four were out prior? I'm like, I can't get into that. I'm sorry. It is a good question. I think that it was just a funny name. But my friends, there were 4 of us when we were young running around, and we were, big 4, and that's what we did. So yeah, Brian, I think is going to be, he's certainly got a story to come. It's tough to be Peter Parker's friend. But I also wanted somebody who was really Peter focused, so not so much. Yeah, Spider-Man's been involved in his life for sure, but he is a Peter focused character.
I get it.
And I think that's going to be really fun to see play out. So we'll get to know a little bit more about Brian. I mean, you already kind of see, I think, in the issues that are out, that they're launching this program together. It's this mycoteria. They're trying to basically, which is a real thing actually. They're trying to develop housing you can grow, and taking like mushrooms and turning them into something stable.
Yep.
Because you could build houses anywhere then and just grow them in the desert. It's
Absolutely.
Really cool. So Peter's side is going really great, and Brian's side needs a little help. And since Brian got him the job, it's sort of now like, oh, Dr. Osmani Milton is sort of like, oh, well, Peter's the rising star now, and there's some jealousy that starts kicking up. So that's soap opera. That's what we like.
That's great. And I love this new environment for Peter at Rand. You'll forgive me because obviously I know my world history and stuff. Wasn't Rand like a Vietnam? Wasn't there like it wasn't like Daniel Ellison working for Rand when he kind of found out all about the Pentagon Papers?
Oh, I don't know.
Because I was wondering where you got the name.
Oh, no,
Rand.
it's just Danny Rand's foundation. Yeah.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, no,
man, I am dense. Of course.
No, you're smarter than I am. I just know comics.
No,
like,
but
you're like, oh, clearly there's a historical reference, and I'm like, yes, of course.
But I truly
Daniel Rand
from the Marvel Universe side. I'm like, is Rand? Is that a thing in the Marvel Universe? And it's like, yeah, dummy, Danny Rand.
No,
of course.
No.
So that's awesome. No, that's great.
No,
and I mean, that is the great thing that both at the same time, all the Marvel writers, you're 1 foot in New York and 1 foot in 616.
Yeah. Sure.
And, hey, look, it's the Freedom Foundation, and everything else. It's like, oh, there's the Avengers Mansion. It's like, and there's Times Square. Great.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah. Oh, for me, it's one of the best things. I mean, growing up reading Marvel, you just go like, oh, Spider-Man literally swung down this street, right? Like, that's really cool. As a kid, you go like, oh, I might look up and see Spidey. Like, that's the best. The closest I ever had to that growing up was, I don't know if you ever read the Dark Tower series.
Sure, Stephen King. Yeah.
So that, he set the Dark Tower in a building in New York that's near the UN. And I just assumed it was made up. And I was driving with my nephew one day, and literally almost like slammed on the brakes because we drove by the building and there's the bear statue in front of it, and I was like, wait, what? Like, I really broke my brain. Like, the meta of it really messed me up because I just didn't know it was a real thing.
That's awesome.
And that's the best. If you can give that to somebody, that's a really cool thing. So
the Travel Channel used to run, and they always rerun stuff, but they used to run a kind of New York in the eyes of the Marvel Universe and show the real locations.
Oh, that's fun.
So yeah, that was pretty neat. And I know there's a travel book as well somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
But well, and also I would imagine some of the theories about Cosmic Spider-Man are tying into Captain Universe, which Peter has wielded the power and everything.
Yeah,
so.
I have seen that pop up. I can say definitively that it's not it.
Oh, very good.
It's a good,
excellent, man.
Yeah, I don't mind knocking down some theories. That it is not. It's
not that. Fantastic.
Yeah. I do love that stuff.
Oh, yeah, it's interesting. Well, and again, you fish out of water, and, imagine yourself in space, and Peter is such an everyman.
Yeah.
So it's a great opportunity to kind of like, all right, what the hell's going on?
Right.
And, even with his experience with the Avengers and the occasional times he's been in space, So and that's the other thing. Obviously, all that stuff has still happened to Peter as far as your continuity and everything.
Yeah, I mean, in the crazy way of Marvel continuity, where it's like 65 years worth of stuff has happened in like about 14
months.
Yeah, months. Yeah, exactly. But I think the cosmic stuff, it is very clear. It'll make sense. And like I said, I think it's a lot of fun, and Pepe utterly destroys it. Right? Getting to see Pepe draw cosmic stuff is really sick. That's
okay,
really great. That's
cool. Give me a time check, Chucky. 10:48. Excellent. So we got plenty of time. That's great.
Any questions yet?
Yeah, and please come to the microphone, sir. I got more too, but by all means, and really, again, please don't be shy, everybody. If you don't mind lining up for the microphone.
Oh. Hi. I just wanted to backtrack a little bit. You mentioned earlier about one of Peter's personality traits is he's very forgiving. Mm-hmm. It just it kind of, I love the Norman character, but sometimes when I'm reading this, it kind of bugs me. Do you find it hard when you're writing? I mean, for me, this happened when I was 8 years old, but in their timeline, it's maybe 10 or 12 years ago or whatever. Does Peter have a hard time? Like, does he sometimes think when he's being pals with Norman, like, wait a minute, you murdered the woman I wanted to be my wife?
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, does he ever go home at night and say, I hate this guy?
Yeah, he has to. I mean, he absolutely has to. And I think that one of the things that I love about Peter in general, right, is that he's always going to try to forgive. He's going to try to get to that place of best moral compass, whatever. Because of all the continuity and all the stuff that's happened, I don't know if this would technically have been considered a retcon because it's well before any of us, but the idea that the Goblin Serum made him insane and that prior to that he might not have been insane, I think that's a place that Peter can lock into and go, as long as you stay clean, Norman, I can give you, some grace, which is, I think, something that we will see in the future in terms of how he has to process that. But 100%, like, even though it's been a decade, quote unquote, for lack of a better term, he knows. I mean, he knows it, and everything that's happened to Harry. I mean, it's been a legacy of pain. I think he also probably knows, and you'll see some of this actually coming up. I love the flashback, device to see the young version of Peter. We might get to do that with Norman also. And just being reminded that he did not come from a happy household. It's not like he was a happy billionaire. I mean, this is a guy who was abused as a kid. Like, there's a lot of stuff. So it gives Peter ammunition for, I think, being reasonably merciful to this guy and trying to take him as a whole.
Okay. And then you said you also like suggestions.
Sure.
I'm one of the people who hates Paul, so I hope you
hates Paul. Yeah. Man, we were here yesterday.
Yes.
We spent like 10 minutes on Paul.
And I would just love to see Peter get back with Mary Jane someday, or at least Felicia.
Oh, there you go, man.
I thank you for leaving the door open. I appreciate that.
But honestly, Joe, that scene, and you talked about it yesterday, and I read it last night, where Mary Jane is like, hey, with Venom, we need your help. And he's like, yeah, great, you deserve each other. Boom, slams the door. And it's like, because truly, poor Peter, man, the doormat of the 616 forever. And every now and then it's like, no, not this time.
Yeah.
And truly, I mean, I want him back too, don't get me wrong. And I love forgive me, everybody, but I love the reaction to Paul. I was saying yesterday, I had Al Ewing on a couple months ago, and I did this YouTube video interview with him. And to this day, there are still comments about, I still don't think you guys understand how irritating Paul is. It's like, no, you guys write irritating characters to evoke that kind of a response from us. Man, he really sucks. But like I was asking, and I'll re-ask Joe, we kind of are at the end of the MJ-Paul relationship, but I have a feeling Paul may not be done. But this is because that's usually the path to supervillainy, of course. And at least that's my theory. But
I like jilted relationship as path to supervillainy.
Yeah, exactly. You said we'd be forever. But no, I just the reaction of Paul, it kills me. It absolutely, and it's like, no, he really sucks, and they got to change it now. Yeah. But like I was saying to CB yesterday, the Spider clone story went way the hell too long, and it's like Are we at that breaking point? Do you guys like kind of check in monthly, and it's like, so Paul, do we keep going? Should we be wrapping this up?
Yeah, I mean, because we work so far in advance, by the time when I came onto the books, there was already stuff percolating for like a year in advance, right?
Okay.
So sometimes, I mean, we also, these are all other people's toys, right? Like as much as I would like to take ownership,
sure,
it's always Marvel's Spider-Man, and all these characters. So you inherit these things, and then you go, okay, cool. How can I tweak it? How can I adjust? Whatever. I don't have to answer the Mary Jane question at the moment because she's got her own thing going in Venom. Al's very capably handling all that. Paul's part of that package. So at the moment, I get to sort of be like, hey, let's look at Felicia over here.
Excellent.
That's cool. And some other people, that I think are being introduced in his life. Shay, I think is a cool character. We're going to meet some more people at the lab and
any cosmic hookups?
Maybe in cosmic also, which I think is fun. And then, and then we'll see what happens.
Sure.
But yeah, Paul. You want to go out and be like, oh yeah, Ultimate Paul is coming. Like, he's. But it is fun, and I do like, it's funny. I love how passionate people get about this stuff. I'm a passionate fan about the things I'm really into. It only ever bugs me when people make it personal. Like Zeb and I had talked about it in the past, and I mean, when you have people like and this happened to Slott too, making death threats.
During Superior Spider-Man with Doc Ock and everything.
Something you did in a book. It's
too far.
Yeah,
too far.
That's the only time it ever really irks me. But I've had plenty of spirited conversations, even at this con, and it's cool. Like, I love it.
That's excellent. It's a good attitude and everything. And again, to provoke that kind of response, which is great. That's the whole plan. Mm-hmm. Sorry, forgive me for going on my tangent. You got a question?
So my question is more on the art. So we went from Pepe Larraz to John Romita Jr.'s quick 2-part story, and then to somebody else. Do you see it a steady artist coming along, or will Pepe Larraz be that artist?
Yeah, I mean, because of the bi-weekly, it's always going to be rotating, right? So I think in a perfect world, it will be, arc of one person, arc of another person, just keep going like that. And at the moment, that would be Pepe and JR. And Space becomes every other week, like I said, which is, it's a bit of a pressure on them, like that I was hoping would work. I think we'll be okay, but we may need fill-ins from time to time. And then after Space, I think if we can settle in, and really find the arcs might be a little bit shorter because, it's just easier, for people to do. Like, let me do 3, let me do 2, whatever. I would love to see as consistent an art team as possible. I think that's really important. But we just don't live in a realm where...
because the 2 Romita issues seems kind of like, boom, here he is. Oh, there he goes.
Yeah. And I mean, Johnny had to have like a back thing. Like he moved. He had a lot of stuff going on. So sometimes real life also just impacts on that stuff too. But hopefully, we will settle in and hopefully have a more consistent art team. That's the goal.
All right, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Cool. And like you said, Pepe is going to be handling Earthbound.
Space.
Oh, pardon me. He's handling Space. Johnny's handling Earthbound.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Very cool.
Though I have a feeling that there might be some help also involved in that.
Yeah. No. Again, like you said, real life gets in the way.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask about you have no time right now. Do you have no time for creator own?
I do. I mean, I certainly do.
Anything percolating or?
Yeah, I've been pecking at. The next book I'm going to do with Ken Nomura. So we did I Kill Giants, and Immortal Sergeant. So the next project with him, I don't want to wait 15 years again between books. That was a dumb move. He's writing his own thing right now that I'm going to help edit, and then eventually we'll do the last of this like Long Island black and white trilogy that we're doing. So that'll be cool.
That's great, man.
And then I mean, it's when you get to work on something like Spidey, you want to have something in the pocket, to whenever the run is done, which hopefully won't be for a long time, to go, oh, here's also my creator book.
Absolutely, man.
I do have something that came out in French and now will finally come out in English, which it's called Fang, and it's with Nico Anrachan, who just did, what's the book he did with Brian Vaughan? They released it online through their
not
Spectators.
Spectators, because Marcos Martin was private eye.
Yeah. So he just did Spectators. Pride of Baghdad. I mean, he's unbelievably
Sure.
talented. So it's
he's the guy who drew Pride of Baghdad
Yeah.
as well. Wow.
yeah,
Oh, sure.
So it's a fully painted book. It's about this, like, it's sort of set in a Eastern, half anthropomorphic, half human world. There's demons. There's kung fu. There's all sorts of fighting. It's really fun. And there are 2 volumes in French, and they were waiting to have 2 to then publish it in English. So that, I assume, will be coming out from Humanoids soon-ish.
Great.
We just are launching the 2nd volume in French.
That's excellent. Have you gone to France to promote it?
No, not specifically for that yet. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Because also the volumes come out so slow. Like,
Sure,
they,
yes.
they are just like, oh, it's a we'll take 4 years. It's okay. Like, they do not care.
It's true.
Which is incredible.
Yes.
I don't understand.
Yeah, I hear you, man.
But they're beautiful. I mean, like, Nico's really, really
Oversized,
talented.
obviously.
Yeah, the big giant album format, which
Yeah.
I love. I love the manga format. I love the oversized format. So it was great to get to finally do a book like that. So that will eventually show up here. Yeah.
I hope you guys do check out like comics from Humanoids and stuff like that, because truly the presentation, the story ideas, the art, it is really fun to compare the mainstream product here to what's happening in Europe. And I mean, ever since I've been podcasting now for the last 20 years, it's so eye-opening to see what the rest of the world is doing with comic books and stuff.
Well, yeah, it's great. And I mean, you have so much more real estate. So, like, to do a 12-panel page is not a big deal in that, because they're literally so huge. So
Yes.
the storytelling is interesting and different, and you don't get splashes in the same way, because then you're almost wasting, because they're only 40 pages long.
Right.
But it's a really fun format. Yeah.
That's excellent. So, Men of Action, what might be cooking as far as the company that you can tell us about currently?
So we've been we just wrapped up this. There's been a Hello Neighbor thing that we did on YouTube.
Yeah.
So that's wrapping up. We have 2 video games we've been working on.
Cool.
The Deadpool VR game that got announced a couple of months ago was one of them.
Interesting.
It's been really fun. Unfortunately, you have to have a MetaQuest to play it, but it's a very cool project. Neil Patrick Harris is Deadpool.
I was going to ask. Wow,
yeah.
that's great, because I was like, maybe Ryan's doing the live action,
that would have been
cut-in scenes.
Yeah,
but NPH is
tried,
great.
but he's awesome.
Sure.
and he really does a great job.
Sure.
There's a galaxy of stars connected to other characters in that story.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Which has really been fun, and there's some just really interesting polls for characters. It's really cool. And then we're doing another video game that hasn't been announced yet, but it's an original IP that we developed with a company in Sweden. So that'll probably start to be talked about soon. I think the beta is ready in maybe end of the year or something like that. So,
Okay.
I mean, and these projects take a really long time. Like, I thought animation took a long time. Video games, I mean, 4 years, 5 years. It's
Well,
crazy.
and story is like 10 times bigger,
Yeah.
because you get that choose your own adventure kind of thing in a video game. So yeah, it's like, all right, well, if they go right, these 5 things happen. If they go left, these 10 things happen.
Well, and
So-
the way we write is, as it is, there are 4 of us, so we have to figure out how to coordinate 4 people. We have to work with all the programmers and all the development team there. We write full scripts for cinematics. We write in spreadsheets for dialogue, like literal spreadsheets.
Wow.
Just the worst way I've ever written, but you just have to learn how to do it. And then sometimes we write on like a Miro board, which is like the equivalent of a whiteboard, and that's where the branching dialogue goes. And then it's somebody else's job, thank God, to take those and put them into the spreadsheet, because
Wow.
that would really be rough. So
Oh my God.
it's a wild way to write. But after a while, you just kind of get into the rhythm of it.
Algebra writing, my guy. Yeah, that's crazy, man. Seriously.
Yeah.
I'm so glad you mentioned NPH, because it reminds me of earlier Marvel animation that I believe Men of Action was part of. Were you guys with the SpiderMan cartoon or Earth's Mightiest Heroes?
Yeah, we did Ultimate Spider-Man. We did a little Earth's Mightiest Heroes, and then we did Avengers Assembled.
Yes. And again, those, you guys, it's the comic book guys writing this stuff. They know the characters. They know how to do it.
It was very helpful.
Yeah, man, all of those series were just outstanding, man. They were so
thanks.
much fun.
It was also a great time. I mean, we'd be in the room with Jeff Loeb, Joe Quesada, Brian Bendis on both of those, I think, but definitely on Spidey.
Yes.
And
Now, Ultimate Spider-Man, was that NPH's one, or was that a different?
No. I'm trying to think.
Oh, was it the kid from Nick and...
Yeah, it was Drake Bell.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was Spider-Man.
Josh and Drake.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right, Nick. Again, old man. The kids, Skippy and Cletus, I think were the names.
But we also got to have, we had Stan voice the janitor, which was awesome. He would show up periodically.
That's cool. How many Stan encounters over the years and conversations?
A nice handful. Yeah,
That's great.
Nice handful. Yeah, it was always incredible to talk to Stan.
Yeah.
The first time was when we did in Deadpool. We did an issue where we Forrest Gumped him into a original, Stan comic, Stan John Romita comic. And
were you able to use the old pages and put them in?
Yeah,
fantastic.
No, we literally stripped out Spidey and
That's
put in
great,
Deadpool.
Joe.
But we had to run it by Stan, and I was never more terrified in my life. I was like, well, my career was fun. It's been a year and a half, and hey, Stan, we're going to make fun of this comic that you did. And, guys, you did a great job. Like that kind of, I was like,
sure.
Yes. Talking to Stan was like, no matter what he said, it was like spun gold. I mean, it was just like, you'd be like, bacon, egg, and cheese, kid. And I was like, great. Thank you, Stan. Like, rub on high. Like, it didn't matter. It was very fun. He was always very encouraging and sweet. And
walking history, man.
Yeah.
I mean, my God, and especially for fans like us, it's like, oh my God, tell me about 1961. All right, shit out.
Yeah.
That is so great. All right, mentioning Deadpool, obviously great runs on Deadpool, and you really do get this guy, Wade. But also, it is interesting that they put. Wolverine and Deadpool was a lot of fun, both in the comics and obviously on screen. But Spider-Man and Deadpool, and you've had great experience in both. You got two different wise asses. Right. Mm-hmm. And honestly, you would think, well, that's red and red. Where's the fun and the inner conflict of character? Right. So if you don't mind diagramming how that works.
Yeah, it really becomes like Spidey becomes like what you would typically consider the straight man in those two, right? Even though he's still funny and he's still making his jokes, Deadpool is so wild. He's balanced out by Peter being sort of like, I'm going to be,
the sane
road.
one.
I'm going to be okay. And then in that series, the goal was to invert it halfway through, which we did. And then Spidey became super dark and whatever. But trying to balance out those, it's just different types of humor, right? It's sort of like, I don't know, you take sitcom humor for Peter, and it's Looney Tunes humor with a knife for Deadpool.
Sure.
Also, Deadpool being such a humongous fanboy, and Peter really hating Deadpool. Like, despite the fact that he can forgive people, he can forgive you if you're not stabbing a person right in front of him. You know what I mean? Like, you get to the point where it's like Peter Parker's mercy can only go so far, and Deadpool just can't help himself. So that clash is always going to be fun. And then when you get to do Deadpool and Wolverine, then it's like the straightest of the straight guys, right? Like Bub.
Yeah, exactly. And pissed off at everything.
Yeah, pissed off.
He's Mo Howard, essentially.
Yeah, right.
Why you?
Mo Howard with adamantium hair would be.
I'll cut you to shreds, porcupine.
Yeah, but having those, it's sort of then Deadpool's in the middle, right? Then Deadpool's the lighter side, and Wolvie's not. So it's I don't know. He's fits in great in almost any situation.
Do you never tire? Like, could you write Wade forever if you wanted to?
Yeah, I mean,
because how many years really? And
Yeah, I mean, it was three years on the initial run, and like I said, when I left, maybe that was a mistake, maybe it was a good idea. He obviously didn't need me because he kept going.
Sure.
But I love that character, so I
that's
could have
great.
written him for a really long time. Now I feel like it would be hard to sort of go back and do an ongoing. So these little like dips in the pool of like, okay, him with Spidey, him with Wolvie, like that's fun for me. But
okay.
It's challenging for me to go back to a character. This one, for Spidey, it was different because he's Spider-Man. It's like my literal favorite character of all time. And the first time was with the Brain Trust of people.
Yes, yeah, I want to hear about Brand New Day. Actually,
they were awesome. It was a great time.
Was it easy to map out? Stories but also interweave at the same time.
Yeah, everybody was really collaborative. It was a great group of people.
Slott, Gale, Bob Gale,
yep.
Back to the Future, Bob Gale, yourself, and there was a fourth.
Yeah, with Mark Guggenheim and Zeb Wells. Yeah,
and Zeb. Yeah. Sure.
So it was a really great time. Everybody was super cool. Steve Wacker was in charge. Like,
yes,
it was great. It was a great run, and we had a lot of fun. And it was about a year after. Again, it's a good example again of like. It was a year after that story happened, right? The deal with the devil, the infamous deal.
Mephisto and One More Day, absolutely.
Yeah. But then, then again, people go like, "Oh yeah, he was part of that stuff." I'm like, I didn't do that. I came in a year later.
Yeah.
But it's funny how a wide brush gets made.
Man, you want to talk about like abuse for Paul and stuff. My God, One More Day. I mean, literally, like.
Yeah.
I even knew professionals that are like angry at the fans going, "Hey, shut up." And it's like, all right, you're not going to win a war against Vader 28, I'm telling you, but I understand you're angry, writer A, but
No, it's never ended. I mean, I'm like,
they'll never let you have the last word.
Well, this story was 17 years ago, and people still
wow, no kidding.
Which is amazing.
Yes.
It kind of is a testament to at least it being a provocative story.
Sure. Yes. Absolutely.
But I mean, we're still talking about Gwen Stacy's death too, right? So I mean, it's
60 years. Absolutely.
Yeah, so it's pretty remarkable. But yeah, that was a great time. Everybody's really fun. The ideas were great. I got to do the Rhino story because Mark Guggenheim couldn't do it. He got busy. And
okay.
It was cool to just be like, oh, let's trade stories.
Okay.
It was very. It's just supportive. It's what you want in a room.
Speaking of Rhino, and forgive me because sometimes I conflate stuff. You're the one who gave Rhino the heart attack in your current run, right?
Oh yeah.
That was, first of all, totally out of was not expecting that whatsoever.
Cool.
And then the burden, the city really going, all right, we got to pay, or the state, whoever is paying for the insurance right now. And it's such a real world thing of, what happens when a supervillain suddenly needs critical care, and it's like. Can we pull the plug? I mean, it is the Rhino, and think of all the terrible things that he's done. But of course, he's a human being, and that was just such a great real world kind of issue for the Rhino.
And Peter does cares about the Rhino because of the story we did back in the day. He got to understand the Rhino a little bit better, and I don't think all villains need to be, for lack of a better term, softened or redeemed. I mean, we need bad guys.
Sure,
and I'm totally down for bad people. I like to know why they're bad. I think that's critical. And I think Spider-Man likes to try to know why they're bad. We should know as the audience.
Well, depending, because there's a great story usually of, oh, I didn't know Norman was an abused child.
Right.
Now I do have a little more sympathy for him. And I mean, I disagree with his actions, but I understand his motivations.
Yeah, and that's always it, right? It's like, Spidey had plenty of bad days in his life. Or it's Batman Joker, right? Where you can just go, I chose this path. I choose this path every day. You chose a different path, and that's what I can hold you accountable for. I can't hold you accountable for your past, but I can hold you accountable for the present. That, I don't know, it's the root of all this stuff that we love, I think.
Any more questions? Because, again, I got plenty more, but feel free to get up to the microphone, even double dipping and stuff. I don't mind that if you... Wait a minute, there's another thing I wanted to ask. So... Let's first of all, because we've been talking about it, animation compared to those glory days of Ultimate Spider-Man and the Avenger series and stuff, and where the business is now, because everything is so obvious that even though it's been 2 years since the strike and 5 years since COVID started, we're all dealing with it as consumers of media, and cartoons are no exception. So can you tell me?
Yeah, it's been it was really a perfect storm, even prior to the strike and the pandemic. You had, the play patterns of kids have changed, right? Kids you used to know, okay, they go from preschool, they play with toys. The toys would fund the cartoons, sometimes in a very obvious fashion, sometimes in a less obvious fashion. Then it went basically to digital, right? It's kids get an iPad. That became the jump. And so those toy budgets started to drop, and that changed the type of shows that we would make. To launch a Ben 10 today would be really challenging. Ben 10 was also really unique in that the show and the toys launched at the exact same time, which almost never happens. That was something they fought for, which is really honestly a stroke of genius for the Warner Brothers guys.
Yeah.
So we have that, right, where kids are playing with less toys after preschool. Then the streaming stuff that we're all aware of, you can watch whatever you want at any time. That is not great for keeping kids invested in a character or a show, right? We like to binge things. That's cool. For a kid, if they binge it, they forget, and then they're on to the next thing. So the idea that, we're going to show you all 8 episodes of something, and then the toys come out in 6 months, not a good business model.
I'm hip.
Right?
Yeah.
It does not work. So we had that brewing. Then we had all this other stuff. So it's been a tough time. I'm not particularly interested in preschool. I think generally the guys aren't really that interested in preschool. So we're looking for what are the new ways that we can, find the kids where they are. Some of that is YouTube, some of that is shorts, TikTok. Like, what sort of stuff do you go to try to just, I don't know, show them something cool that then they want to track down? Because that's it. All the ownership now is with the audience, right? It's not just like, hey, what's on the Saturday morning block, like when we grew up.
Right, absolutely.
Right?
And Ben 10 was kind of the last gasp of that kind of programming,
I would
right?
say so. Yeah, I would say so. So we have to find the audience where they are. So, and then there's the other thing of, because of the streamers, they are very into established properties. And, you can only bet on some of these properties so many times, but that's what they keep doing. And I find that personally frustrating. So to do something original, and every time there's a breakout hit, it's original, right?
Sure.
But they're risk averse. So we try to figure out what are the short form things we can do to try to engage an audience and go from there.
I am so honestly fascinated by short form right now. And I mean, of course, we've always kind of had it. I mean, even in Saturday morning cartoons, think of that like 1 minute between, or not even a minute, of Rocky and Bullwinkle. Watch me pull the rabbit out of a hat. Again? I mean, that's, essentially a TikTok waiting to happen. In fact, I'm sure there are clips of it on TikTok. But writing for that, because Bill Maher, who I don't always agree, sometimes I agree with him politically, but not always, but he said a really smart thing, and being in the podcasting business, I'm really attuned to this. It's like people want 3 hours of audio, but they want 1 minute of video. And it's like, yeah. I mean, again, look at TikTok, look at Instagram, look at Facebook video and all that stuff. So I'm even taking my long-form interviews, and I'm making it a minute. But that's taking this content. Are you writing original 1 minute, 2 minute content?
Yeah, we're starting to develop stuff that way, but I think it's always with the hope that if a thing locks in, then you get an opportunity to go bigger, right? And also there's always going to be a proper audience. Like, we're not going away, right? I mean, and because we have access to everything, like, I'm a big anime manga fan.
Yeah.
So, like, Crunchyroll is probably the thing I look at the most. And going back to old series or going back to not that old series, like, there's no shortage of stuff, right? So it's like trying to figure out just how to get that crew of people. And I think we're lucky in that we do have generations of fans now that grew up with all sorts of cool animation. So as they get older and they have kids, they want to introduce them to cooler stuff. And also the wide variety of types of things that they'll watch. Like the idea of doing a sports cartoon I don't think it would have really ever worked here. And now all of a sudden you can go, I can point to 5 examples that are, in the high, ratings brackets for Crunchyroll in America.
That's great.
And so all of a sudden now, maybe we could pull off a sports show.
Crazy. But yes, and again, the Japanese have always been more inviting to different genres.
Yeah.
And really, manga and anime have gone hand in hand.
Yeah.
So I know because friends who come back from Japan, there's golf manga. I'm like, really? Golf manga? Yeah. Okay.
Well,
but
obviously they blew up during the pandemic in a way that
go on, please.
That American comics didn't, and primarily because, and this is our curse and our strength, is just like Spidey. If you say to somebody, "Hey, I'd like to get into SpiderMan. Where do I start?"
Yeah.
Like, good luck, right? Like,
yeah.
There's 65 years. Do you want to read from chapter 1 or, from 65 years ago, or do you want to read the one that came out in April? And all the stuff in between, right? It's really challenging. If you want to read One Piece, which my son was like, Dad, you got to get on One Piece before it ends. You go to chapter 1. It's 25 years old, but the same guy, same art, cool. Same story for 25 years. It's really easy to get in. That's something we all have to reckon with. I mean, I think it's something that the creator-owned books do great. You want to check out East of West, you just go to chapter 1. You want to read Invincible, you go to chapter 1.
But that's 5 years of
yes.
I don't even know how many years for Johnny on that book compared to 60.
Yeah.
And I get that. Well, I always say too, instead of starting again with on the covers a new number 1, it's like, can't you just go with chapter 1 of the Spider's Curse and go through the 6 or 5 issues, and then chapter 1 of the Goblin Strikes, and just
right.
keep doing that, and also by all means keep your heritage number.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's great that Marvel's in the upper hundreds, and obviously DC with Detective in Action is in the thousands.
Yeah,
So that's cool.
Yeah, we're gonna hit 1,000.
Yes.
Which is on Spidey, which is incredible. And
Absolutely.
Yeah, my issue 11 is 975. So,
Insane.
yeah.
Okay. Oh, that's great, man.
So
So are
hence
you
it's double
prepping
sized.
for 1,000?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Big things will happen.
Big things will happen as long as I can hold on and people want me around. It's all Paul in issue with. It's Paul's backstory. See
Outstanding.
him as a
Life
child.
of Paul. Fantastic. You're killing me, man. That's excellent. Jesus. Again, I'll ask one last call for questions. Are you coming up for a question, sir?
I am.
Excellent. Fantastic. Fantastic Todd McFarlane shirt.
I thought this was a good time for it because you talked about it being difficult sometimes to get into Spider-Man. So you said you've been writing for about 28 years in comics now.
Yeah. So
So if you had someone who's never heard of your work, what one story would you present them to try to make them a Joe Kelly fan?
Oh, good
thank
question,
you.
man.
I appreciate that. If they're an independent comic person, I Kill Giants, like without a doubt.
That would be my choice.
No, thank you. I'm super proud of I Kill Giants. It continues to be published.
That's so great.
I love it. Ken Demore is incredible. It's near and dear to my heart. If it was just superhero stuff, Action 775 for Superman. Thankfully, it's just been reprinted because of the movie. That's really cool.
Is that the What's So Funny About?
Yeah,
What's
so-
so funny about Peace, Love, and the American Way?
it's a
Manchester
solid,
Black, right?
Yeah, and it's
Excellent
a solid
story, Joe.
one,
Yes.
one issue. Like, here's what I think about Superman, and I think if they dig that, then they'd be interested in the run. And then Deadpool, and that one you can start from number one. I think those are the ones.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh, you opened the best door, man, truly, because I got to talk about that Superman issue. Because this is where I think AI cannot come up with a story like that with that kind of twist. And if you guys know this Superman Manchester Black story, well, and really it's the whole, the Elite?
Yeah, the Elite.
The Elite, his group and everything. And, like, obviously kind of a riff on the Authority and everything, I would assume.
Yeah.
Did you create Manchester Black?
Yeah.
An amazing character.
Oh, thanks.
Is he still? Do you know? And also, this is like your babies go off in the world, and other people play with them.
Yeah.
But is Manchester Black alive and well in the current
I honestly
continuity?
don't know. I think. We tried to kill him. I think somebody. Then I think his brain was in a cow.
Yes.
So that was that for a while.
And when the secret identity came back, I know there was some Manchester Black in
Yeah.
that story not too long ago.
Yeah, and I don't. If people want to use them, it's fun. Like I think it's really cool as long as they don't, violate what it is. Right? He's meant to be a terrible.
Yes.
human. I guess he could be redeemed. I suppose. But
yeah.
that was what his sister was for. Like Vera was meant to be like, okay,
Yes.
the apple fell nice and far from that tree, and she took the same crappy past and became something better. Right? That was sort of the goal. But 775. I'm again very proud of, and the little story behind the scenes of that was that Mike Carlin was editor-in-chief at the time. We handed the script in. When I wrote it very quickly. It's rare that I get a whole story in one lightning bolt, but I had that one. Wrote it with swearing in it and everything because it was like Manchester Black. I'm like, oh, cool. I know this won't get into the book, but I'll just put it in there. So Mike is reading, and he's got his red pen out, and he's like circling curses. No.
Yeah,
Like,
but
all
can't
things-
you hashtag?
Oh,
and,
of course. But all the things that I can't do, no. Then Superman starts to get dark. And then he's like, no, with big no. And then he's killing people. No. Like literally pen is ripping through the paper. And then he gets to the end of the story. He's like, okay, take out the curses. It's like.
All right,
I love
excellent.
the
He got
story,
it at the end. Very good.
But he was really like shredding paper.
But
with his
that's
red pen.
there's this. I mean, really, and it's they did a cartoon version of it, little different than your.
Yeah,
story.
we had to change it a little bit, but I mean that was another special thing because I got to work with Alan Burnett and Bruce Timm. And
Excellent.
That was like insane because I'm such a huge fan. But yeah, we adapted it so that if you didn't know all the inside baseball of comics, you could still come to it. And then so it was a little bit more like political with lowercase p, where we were just talking about the world, not any particular corner of it.
I'm hip.
To sort of make it a little more accessible. Yeah. But generally, it's the same story.
But it's just that great twist because a lot of people, in fact, I forget who, in terms of panels that we've done this week, it's like, well, Superman's it's such a tough nut to crack because he's so perfect, he's whatever. But man, you had this great like little slider of a pitch that's like, wait a minute, wait a minute, and it's like it's still Superman, and it's so consistent with his character. I didn't want to spoil it if people don't know the story. So, does everyone know the story?
Yeah.
Everyone's kind of not.
Yeah.
Just that moment of, wait a minute, like, what'd you do to my mind? Well, did I do something to your mind, or did I do something to your mind? And it's like, holy shit, Superman just did it, not lifting literally a finger and just outsmarting. Because especially in Batman, Superman, it's like, all right, Superman's the broad, Batman's the detective. And it's like, no, man, Clark Kent is an investigative journalist. Yeah. He's smart. He has a smart job. So that's truly, man, it really was this amazing one issue.
Yeah. Well, thank you. I leaned into Clark. I mean, and obviously Doug, Dunk Bonke and Lee Bermejo made that the sickest issue.
The look on his face, back to black and everything. I don't know, maybe I did.
And I don't remember my stories, honestly. Like I write them and then I move on.
Sure.
So when they just reprinted it and I opened it like dead King Kong, and I was like, oh yeah, I forgot we killed King Kong in this. Like, and just Doug being willing to, Doug would do anything. Like when we did the Obsidian Age, and he had, we had this guy, basically he was prehistoric Iron Man. His armor ran on the blood of sacrifices, and he drew all this intricate stuff. And I was like, is that going to be hard to draw? He's like, yeah. Every issue, yeah. But he did it. And I was like, all right, thanks, man. Doug's incredible.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm so glad you mentioned the Obsidian Age, because your Justice League run is amazing.
Yeah, it was fun.
So,
that was another good time.
Am I right, Bruce and Diana? The hookup, the relationship
there
and
was
everything?
There was a not secret relationship going on. That Phil Jimenez was doing Wonder Woman at the time.
Yeah.
We just agreed. We're like, they're hooking up, right? It's like, oh yeah, they're hooking up.
That's so
awesome,
great.
cool. And it's very subtle if you look in there, but yeah, we just agreed off to the side.
But didn't they go to Mount Olympus and have dinner with the gods and everything? And Bruce is like totally out of place with all.
Oh sure,
surrounded by the gods.
Yeah.
So it wasn't that subtle.
Yeah. That I don't remember if that happened during my run, but
okay.
Yeah, but we were trying to, because it would have been too challenging to get permission. It's an ask for forgiveness, not permission situation.
Well, I'm glad, because again, I mean, I like when they put Superman and Diana together. That's okay. Yeah. But it's like, no, Bruce is like the ultimate man, and I could see Wonder Woman being like, all right, he's intriguing, sure, why not? Yeah. And vice versa for that matter. Mm-hmm. So that's excellent. Well, we're at it's time to wrap. So I want, first of all, way to go, man. Keep up the great work. Amazing Spider-Man is outstanding. So glad to hear about the creator-owned stuff. And yeah, man, I will continue to bug you when we talk about the evolution of toys and comics, because it's an ever-changing world, and I think it's fascinating. Yeah. So, and the cartoons. So yeah. Joe Kelly, everybody.
Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, man.